Thanks for visiting our channel. Watch this video as we take a look at the 10 worst SUVs of 2024 that you should probably stay away from. Performance problems and unreliability are only two of the many complaints leveled against these automobiles. Alright, let's get started. Firstly, the Mitsubishi Mirage G4. Among the subcompact sedans that made the cut is the Mitsubishi Mirage G4. The most important thing is that it doesn't do very well. The 1.2-liter three-cylinder engine found in the Mirage G4 produces 78 horsepower. Slow acceleration and an unappealing ride quality are the results of this power shortfall. Plus, the continuously variable transmission, CVT, isn't helpful. It makes the engine rumble as you accelerate. The Mirage G4 might use an upgrade to its cabin. Rigid plastics and inexpensive materials provide the cabin an air of low rentality. Long car rides are unpleasant due to the seats' inadequate padding and support. Even more so than the front seats, the back passengers will have very little legroom, which will negatively impact their comfort level in the car. Another issue with the Mirage G4 is its safety. It has some conventional safety equipment like airbags and a rear-view camera, but it doesn't have a lot of the fancy equipment that modern cars have. There was need for improvement in the crash test ratings provided by organizations such as the Insurance Institute for Highway Safety, IIHS. Finally, there's room for improvement in the Mirage G4's resale value. Because of its poor build quality and reputation for average performance, it loses value rapidly and is thus not a great investment for the long run. Do not buy a Mitsubishi Mirage G4 if you are looking for a dependable and pleasant small sedan. 2. Chrysler's hybrid Pacifica. Although it has a novel idea, the Chrysler Pacifica hybrid might use some work in terms of implementation. Dependability is a major concern. Hybrid system issues, including as dead batteries and charging troubles, have been reported by many owners. Repairs can get pricey and the ownership experience can get irritating when these problems arise. The Pacifica hybrid fails to live up to the hype surrounding hybrids due to its poor fuel economy. In comparison to non-hybrid vehicles, the Pacifica's fuel economy isn't noticeably better, even with its hybrid powertrain. For people trying to cut back on gas expenses, this is a major turnoff. Another area where the Pacifica hybrid falls short is in terms of interior quality. The stow-and-go seating provides a lot of flexibility and the cabin is roomy, but the materials aren't as good as the competitors. The harsh plastics that cover the dashboard and panels take away from the vehicle's overall feel. Further diminishing the user experience is the infotainment system's reputation for sluggishness and glitches. When it comes to safety, the Pacifica hybrid has mixed feelings. Although it has several standard safety features, such as lane departure and forward collision alerts, it has not yet shown up to crash tests as predicted. Its capacity to safeguard passengers in the event of an accident is thus called into question. In sum, the 2024 Chrysler Pacifica hybrid is not a good choice due to its unsatisfactory interior quality, poor fuel economy, and reliability problems. 3. Toyota Mirai. A hydrogen fuel cell vehicle with revolutionary technology, the Toyota Mirai has a few major flaws. The infrastructure for refilling hydrogen vehicles is the most pressing concern. Unfortunately, many drivers still find hydrogen filling facilities to be inconveniently few and far between. The vehicle's utility is severely restricted due to this accessibility issue, which can be somewhat bothersome. The Mirai's performance is disappointing. The 182 horsepower produced by its electric motor is sufficient, but not spectacular. More dynamic acceleration and a sportier driving experience are possible. If you're hoping for an exciting and lively ride, you could be disappointed with the Mirai. Despite its futuristic exterior, the Mirai's cabin isn't without its flaws. There has to be more uniformity in the material quality, and the controls can be difficult to understand. You can tell the difference between the high-quality finishes in certain places and the cheap plastics in others. The overall aesthetic of the cabin would benefit from a correction of this inconsistency. Its cargo area is another major concern with the Mirai. The hydrogen tank's location makes the trunk rather cramped. Because of this, it is not practical for families or individuals that frequently need to move heavy objects. Last but not least, the Mirai's total cost of ownership can be somewhat steep. There is still a long way to go before hydrogen fuel becomes affordable, and fuel cell system upkeep can add up. When these considerations are added to the difficulty of having few options for fueling, the Toyota Mirai loses some of its appeal for most drivers. 4. Volkswagen Taos. Many have voiced their disapproval of the Volkswagen Taos, a small SUV. The fact that it could work better is one of the main problems. A 1.5-liter turbocharged engine generates 158 horsepower, which is utilized by the Taos. Although it may appear sufficient in theory, the actual driving experience is far from it. Accelerating onto highways or overtaking other vehicles feels quite slow due to the engine. The Taos also has room for improvement in terms of interior quality. Even though Volkswagen is famous for its high-quality interiors, the Taos doesn't feel like they were a priority. Compared to other Volkswagen models, the materials utilized aren't as high quality, and the design could use some variety. Consumers have also complained about the infotainment system's slowness and lack of responsiveness. As for the Taos's ride quality, it's not great either. Over bumpy or uneven terrain, the ride could be difficult because of the firmer suspension. The driver and passengers may find long rides less fun and exhausting as a result of this. The Taos also has reliability issues. Issues with the transmission and electrical systems were among the many that early models suffered from. You can end up spending a lot of time and money at the dealership fixing these reliability concerns. Finally, the Taos doesn't provide much for the price. Its performance, comfort, and features are different from those of its competitors, and its base price is higher as a result. Those in the market for a dependable and roomy small SUV have better choices than the Volkswagen Taos. 5. Mini Cooper Electric. Though it's hard to resist the Mini Cooper Electric's endearing good looks, prospective purchasers should be mindful of its numerous major flaws. The short range is a major problem. When compared to other electric vehicles in its class, the Mini Cooper Electric's estimated range of 110 miles is quite low. Some drivers may have range anxiety because of its short range, which makes it unsuitable for long-distance driving. The Mini Cooper Electric's performance is all over the place. The ride quality is poor, but the handling and acceleration are top-notch, making for an exciting and entertaining drive. Over bumpy or uneven terrain, the ride can be somewhat unpleasant due to the firm suspension. When traveling for longer periods of time, this can be a major nuisance. There are more issues with the Mini Cooper Electric's cabin. The design is chic and has a lot of vintage appeal, although the materials might be better maintained. There are some high-end touches and other cheap plastics that don't belong in a car at this price range. The back seats are also rather small, with very little space for adults to stretch out in, which may be a real pain. Another issue that Mini Cooper Electric owners have is the availability of charging infrastructure. Charging stations for electric vehicles are on the rise, although they still lag behind more conventional gas stations in terms of coverage. Because of this, finding a charging station could be difficult, particularly in less populated or rural locations. Lastly, considering its features, the Mini Cooper Electric is on the pricier side. For the same price, you can get electric vehicles with greater range, more amenities, and a more pleasant ride quality. Because of these issues, the Mini Cooper Electric may not be the best choice for some consumers. 6. Alfa Romeo Tonale PHEV. The plug-in hybrid SUV by Alfa Romeo, the Tonale PHEV, has turned heads because to its attractive styling and athletic proportions. But there are a number of important places where it might use some work. Reliability is a major concern. The Tonale PHEV continues Alfa Romeo's tradition of unreliability. Some owners have mentioned problems with the hybrid powertrain, electrical system, and overall build quality. A frustrating ownership experience and expensive repairs are possible outcomes of these issues. The Tonale PHEV falls short in terms of performance. Unfortunately, the hybrid powertrain falls short in practice despite its advertised advantages in fuel economy and ability to operate solely on electricity. The driving experience is diminished when the power shifts from electric to gasoline is abrupt and lackluster. Also, for a brand that is recognized for its fast cars, the gasoline engine isn't powerful enough. While the Tonale PHEV's interior is fashionable, it isn't without its problems. All eyes will be on the driver thanks to the sleek design and high-quality materials. There are a few spots that feel cheap and badly put together, so the overall construction might be better. Drivers may find the entertainment system very frustrating due to its sluggishness and difficulty in operation. The lack of storage capacity in the Tonale PHEV is another big negative. Families or individuals that need to transport a lot of equipment may find it less practical because of the placement of the battery pack, which limits the available cargo area. Tonale PHEVs aren't perfect, and this restriction is only one of many that make them less appealing to potential customers. Finally, despite its attractive exterior, the Alfa Romeo Tonale PHEV is not a good choice for 2024 due to its unreliable performance, lack of practicality, and reliability issues. 7. Ford F-150 Hybrid. While it's novel to combine the efficiency of a hybrid with the muscle of a conventional pickup, the Ford F-150 Hybrid isn't without its flaws. Its fuel economy is one of the key concerns. Even though it's a hybrid, the F-150 Hybrid doesn't get much better gas mileage than the regular F-150. Those trying to cut back on gas expenses may find this annoying. The F-150 Hybrid's performance is all over the place. The hybrid system isn't always refined, but the towing capacity and engine power are outstanding. The less fun it is to drive, the more seamless the switch between electric and gas power should be. Furthermore, it can be challenging to make smooth stops due to the regenerative braking system's aggressiveness. One more thing to worry about is the F-150 Hybrid's cabin. There may be greater uniformity in the material quality, but the cabin is roomy and has numerous amenities. Hard plastics detract from the vehicle's overall feel, but some areas feel premium. Even though it has a lot of features, the infotainment system is sluggish and has a history of problems. The F-150 Hybrid's reliability is another area of concern. There have been several problems with the first models, mostly with the electrical systems and hybrid powertrain. Repairs for these reliability concerns can be expensive and cause a lot of downtime for the vehicle. Finally, the F-150 Hybrid's price tag might put some people off. Neither the fuel efficiency nor the overall performance are noticeably enhanced, and it's more costly than its non-hybrid alternatives. The Ford F-150 Hybrid isn't the only option for individuals seeking a dependable and fuel-efficient pickup truck. 8. Toyota X4. With much anticipation, the all-electric SUV X4 from Toyota hits the market, but it falls short in a number of respects. Its range is one of the key concerns. The X4 isn't as good as its rivals, with an estimated 250 miles of range on a full charge. Because of this short range, long-distance driving may not be feasible for some drivers, who may experience range anxiety. The X4 falls short in terms of performance. Although it has sufficient acceleration and a comfortable ride, Many drivers find that it does not provide the thrill and involvement they are hoping for in an electric vehicle. Driving becomes less fun due to the numb steering and lackluster handling. Something else to think about is the G4X interior. There are a lot of technological details and contemporary design elements, but the materials may be of higher quality. While some parts have a high-end vibe, others are covered in cheap plastics that don't belong in a car of this price. The infotainment system is also said to be slow and difficult to use, which drivers find quite annoying. Another issue that these 4X owners have is the availability of charging infrastructure. There may be more electric car charging stations popping up, but they still pale in comparison to the ubiquitous petrol stations. Particularly in less densely populated or rural locations, this can make finding a charging station a hassle. Lastly, considering its features, the G4X is on the pricier side. You can have a better electric vehicle with more features, a longer range, and a more pleasant ride for the same price. Many consumers may choose to stay away from the Toyota G4X due to these reasons. 9. Volvo XC60. Prospective customers should be cognizant of a number of major downsides to the Volvo XC60, despite the vehicle's renown for safety features and attractive design. Its dependability is one of the key concerns. A number of owners have mentioned issues with the vehicle's electronics, particularly the infotainment system and different driver assistance systems. Repairs can get expensive, and the ownership experience can get irritating when these problems arise. The XC60's performance is all over the place. The handling isn't as sharp as some of its rivals, but the ride is comfortable and it comes with a variety of strong engines. There are times when the steering feels dead and unresponsive, which is frustrating for the driver. On roads that are very bumpy or uneven, the ride quality can be quite harsh, which can really ruin a long road trip. One more thing to worry about is the XC60's cabin. There has to be more uniformity in the construction quality, despite the fashionable style and abundance of high-grade materials. While some parts have a high-end vibe, others are covered in cheap plastics that don't belong in a car of this price. The infotainment system is also said to be slow and difficult to use, which drivers find quite annoying. Congestion in the XC60's cargo area is another big issue. Though it has sufficient legroom for passengers, it's not practical for families or anyone who need to transport a lot of goods due to its low cargo space. The XC60 isn't perfect, and this restriction is only one of many reasons why. Finally, despite its attractive exterior, the Volvo XC60 is not a good choice for 2024 due to its unreliable performance, lackluster reliability, and practicality flaws. 10. Rivian R1T. A lot of people are talking about the revolutionary design and amazing potential of the Rivian R1T, an electric pickup truck. Nevertheless, it is lacking in a number of important respects. Its range is one of the key concerns. While the R1T's official range claims 300 miles per charge, in practice, that number can be far lower, particularly when hauling large loads or towing. Because of this short range, long-distance driving may not be feasible for some drivers who may experience range anxiety. Looking at performance, the R1T has its ups and downs. The ride quality is subpar, but the acceleration and off-road capabilities are top-notch. When driving on bumpy or uneven roads, you might expect a harsh ride because of the firm suspension. Particularly on longer trips, this can ruin the fun of driving. Something else to think about is the inside of the R1T. There are a lot of technological details and contemporary design elements, but the materials may be of higher quality. While some parts have a high-end vibe, others are covered in cheap plastics that don't belong in a car of this price. The infotainment system is also said to be slow and difficult to use, which drivers find quite annoying. One more thing that R1T owners have to deal with is charging infrastructure. There may be more electric car charging stations popping up, but they still pale in comparison to the ubiquitous petrol stations. Particularly in less densely populated or rural locations, this can make finding a charging station a hassle. To cap it all off, the R1T isn't exactly cheap for what it delivers. You can have a better electric vehicle with more features, a longer range, and a more pleasant ride for the same price. Because of these issues, the Rivian R1T may not be the best choice for many consumers. We will now conclude. We hope you've enjoyed this rundown of the 10 worst SUVs to stay away from in 2024. It is our sincere wish that this video has served as a useful cautionary tale. If you would like to see more helpful articles like this, you can subscribe and even turn on notifications. See you in the next video. Thank you for watching.